try to get started as pretty much on time as we possibly can. And some of you I know are going to go back east today, and it takes 45 minutes an hour to get to some places. So we want to give you plenty of time, but we want to get started on time. And once again, please thank Angel Medical Center for the wonderful food. Of course, these folks had a pretty short night after feeding us last night, and thank you for last night. Thank you for a good dinner. We hope you enjoyed it, and we're so glad that you're here again today. Does everybody have their agenda? It's on the back page of yesterday's agenda. How many folks, I know Fred's got to leave a little early. He's got to be in Charleston at the mental health function. Does anybody else have to leave for 10 o'clock break?
Illness.
Who's ill, Bella? You're ill, aren't you? So, Bella, you're leaving at 10?
I am leaving at the break.
Well, for those of you who are having to leave at 10, Bella, would you say a few words for us about the weekend and what we've done? We appreciate you so much being here, Bella. More than you know.
Thank you, Ronnie. Well, I'm really delighted to be here. It's been a series of years and that I have served, and it's so nice to come in and see faces that I hadn't seen in a while, and people who are always working away, and it's just so delightful. Even in a county this small, Ronnie, you realize how many similarities that we have in a county from over 1 million people. 1 million people just means a lot more cars in the morning when you start the office. So there's just some wonderful things. I think the delightful thing for me has been this weekend is that everyone has been so cordial and just so special to us. It has to be a reflection upon you.
Well,
and so modesty is such a long suit. So, but anyway, thank you very much, Ronnie. I appreciate it. And for those of you that didn't hear me yesterday, I really am going to welcome all of you to come, and next time we have a board meeting, to visit our new Public Safety Center and give you a little heads up on some of the things that we've been doing, and as we continue to grow, we just have more and more needs, as all of us do. Thank you.
Thank you, Betty Lou. Thank you for being here. I hope everybody else can stay with us. Today you are part of history in the making. And before we start our process, I would like to ask Larry Phillips if he would please come and bless the food that we've already had and ask the blessings upon this meeting.
That's called repentance.
It's repentance.
He said, everybody's going east, there's some of us going west.
Oh, good. Yeah.
You know, there's
Connie.
Well, I'm going further west than Connie. There's an hour drive still in North Carolina from this point west. So if you want to get completely out of North Carolina, you've got about another hour and 15-minute drive. Right?
That's exactly right.
Well, thank you. Let's pray this morning. Father, we thank you for the beautiful day that you've given us. Thank you for the opportunity to be here this morning. Thank you for the Association of County Commissioners, for the value that it adds to our journey as commissioners to help us be effective and efficient public servants. We pray that you would bless this time together, our fellowship together. I thank you for Ronnie and his leadership, and that you would use this mightily for your glory. And as a follower of Jesus Christ, I pray this in his name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Larry, so much. As far as I know, we have no housekeeping chores. Mr. Leonard from yesterday, so we're ready to move right into the thing. So Kevin, if you would come forward. We have some very special guests with us from the UNC School of Government, who's been an integral part of the exercise that we're going to take today. They've been working very hard. So at this time, if there's nothing else, does anybody got anything else before we get started here? Okay. Please welcome Kevin Leonard. He's the Executive Director of North Carolina County Commissioners Association. He lives in Raleigh, Wade County. Is that right? From Davidson County. But we're so proud of Kevin and the job that he's doing. And you'll see after this session today. And while Kevin's up here, I want to ask one other person to come up and talk about today's proceedings, and that's Kitty Barnes. I would like for Kitty to come forward. I have read so many times 10 years ago what was laid out for this association. And as we all know, Commissioner Barnes has been a leader in this association for a long time. And she was a leader on that strategic plan, as she will be here today. So Kitty, I'd like for you to come and give a few words and importance of this, and we appreciate you being here, Kitty. And after that, Kevin will kick us off. So thank you all very much.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Lots of nice smiling faces. That brisk air really got us all up and going when we stepped out of the door of the hotel. Thank you, Ronnie, for inviting us to the west. It may have crooked roads, but there's one thing about it, it's got a lot of heart. When it comes to having a lot of heart, this organization has that too. We began our first strategic plan in 2002. And looking back on it, some of us were around at the time. There were so many interviews done, there was so much digesting of information, and I was so pleased to go through the workbook and see so much of that captured in some of those new conversations that have been held over this past few months. A strategic plan has always brought us back to our organization and knowing that we're on the right track. We could do 1,000 things. We have heard about the over 1,000 bills in the legislature, many of them that impact us one way or the other. But if we don't stay focused, we're not going to get anywhere. And we faced that back in 2002, 2005. We were watching Medicaid costs for individual counties rise exponentially. And I think it was a strategic plan that got us focused and really brought us together. It was a unifying situation. It also led us to know that we as elected officials had a role in working with the legislature. And we're faced with that today. It's a little different story when we talk about sales tax. And it's the long-term implications, but it's putting together this strategic plan and refocusing all of our activity on the things that, the legislature tries to sometimes break us apart. So I look forward to working on this particular plan. I didn't have a special initiative the year I was president. I said, we have to focus on the plan. We can't do anything else. We've got to make this thing work. And it did. David Thompson did a great job. He broke down our staff and made them get to know each other, got them out of silos. He got us out of silos too, we elected officials. And I know that Kevin's going to take us forward in that same way. And I know that this will be kind of marching orders for a number of years for this organization. So please take it to heart. It is important. It's very important. And I look forward to working with each and every one of you.
I can't do better than that. Thank you, Commissioner Barnes. What a great day. I'm really excited about today and having this discussion. My purpose this morning is to give you a little bit of background from the staff perspective of how we have gotten to this place, to set the stage, set the table, so to speak, for this discussion, and to discuss our partnership with the School of Government. I'm going to turn it over to the Dean of the School of Government, Mike Smith, to share some thoughts about this process as well. And then we're going to turn it over to Peg, and she's going to do the magic. She's going to make the magic happen. But I would, you hear me all the time talk about what an amazing staff that I get to work with and have at the association. But you don't hear me say why a lot of the time. We hope that you just see the work and understand all that goes into it. But I wanted to recognize Patrice Rosler this morning specifically. She has been tasked with getting this project underway and shepherding it along this entire time. And it's just been remarkable. And the thing that struck me this morning as I was preparing is that she also spoke yesterday. She's leading our mental health effort. And that made me think that our association's a pretty lean, mean operating machine. We have a fairly small staff for such a large organization, and we double up on a lot of things. So we're all doing a lot of different projects, and she's got 2 big ones this year. She's done remarkable on both of them. Sarah McGilsky, too, I want to talk to you about her. The workbook that you have is a direct result of a conversation that we had with Ronnie Beal after our last board meeting. Ronnie said, we need to really get focused on this project for this moment right here. And what we need to do is tell the story of how we got here. And that workbook that you have is a result of that conversation with Ronnie. That's Ronnie's leadership in action, that video. And Sarah did amazing work in putting it together, I think, along with Patrice and the School of Government. All of the content, the layout, all of that, I just think worked perfectly. And that's why I think we have an amazing staff, because it just works. And just make it happen. So, Patrice has been busy, School of Government's been busy, and as you saw in the workbook, we've met with a lot of people. They have met with a lot of people, not only legislators, but your fellow commissioners across this entire state. And we've gotten a lot of great feedback, and that led to all of the information in there, the observations, some of the conclusions that you read about, and today, the homework you've done, now the question is put to you. On, I think, April the 10th, 2 weeks ago today, gosh, that seems like it was a month or so ago, the senior management team of the association went to Chapel Hill for a day. And I remember driving over there, and this was right a couple of weeks ago, so we were right in the heart of some of these sales tax discussions. Elizabeth was informing me about what was going on with debt set-off. So a lot was going on. We were in the middle of district meetings. I remember driving to Chapel Hill, and I was thinking, gosh, I could spend a lot more time in the office doing something else other than this today. And as I got closer to Chapel Hill and got thinking about the purpose, it occurred to me that I needed to be doing that, and we needed to be doing that. And so when I got there, they allowed me some time to speak up at the front of the meeting, and I told the team, because I knew we were all thinking the same thing. I am spending an entire day in Chapel Hill talking about a strategic plan. And I said, we could all be somewhere else. We're all really busy people, but we have to be here today. We owe it to this organization for the next 10 years to take the time to do this, and that's how I feel about this today. I know how busy you are. I know that you could be in probably 10 different places right now, and they're all important. But we appreciate the fact that you're here, because it means so much for us and for this organization looking forward for the next 10 years. And I wanted to say thanks for that. It's critical. It is critical for us to have this conversation today. So I appreciate it. And if whatever we can do to help our conversation today, just let us know. Let me talk about Mike Smith. We can't find a better partner in the School of Government with Mike Smith. He has been great to this organization over time. He's been great to me personally as I have taken the reins of this organization to offer a hand in whatever I need. And I really appreciate that, Mike. Thank you. I'd like to introduce him. Yes. School government is a jewel in this nation, and we are lucky to have them. And we are lucky to have the relationship that we have with the school government in many, many different ways. Not only this partnership with the strategic plan, but the leadership that they give us in helping teach our commissioners and our local officials across this entire state and giving them the tools necessary to be better leaders. Mike, would you kind of come on up, and I'd like to turn the microphone over to him and thank him personally for being here, making the trip up last night.
Thank you, Dean.
Thank you, Kevin. It's absolutely great to be here. It's great to be in the mountains, although it was only this morning I was sure I was in the mountains since it was dark when I came up last night. I really want to emphasize something that Kevin said about partnership. People talk about partnership, and most of the time I don't think they really are partnerships. One side wants more, wants something from the other. One of the things that's been remarkable to me over the years is our ability jointly to partner for the betterment of North Carolina and for the betterment of North Carolina counties. And I just want to take that for granted. It's incredibly important. It's incredibly valuable to us. And we're honored to be a partner with the association, and we're particularly honored to be involved in the strategic planning process. I mean, it's actually a really important time, and you know that, and I think that's one reason why you're willing to commit the time you're committing, given all the other demands on your schedules. I look around, and almost every organization that I know about is doing strategic planning right now. Y'all are. The League of Municipalities is doing strategic planning. The City County Management Association is on the verge of doing strategic planning. Chief Justice Martin announced recently that the court system is looking at strategically what is the future of the court system going to be. It's really a remarkable time where all God's children are doing planning. And I think if you step back, and you all know better than I do why that's happening. It's hard to imagine a more disruptive time than the one we seem to be in right now. Whether you look over a period of years and think about the economic changes that have happened in North Carolina, if you look at the political changes that have happened in North Carolina, and I don't say that from a partisan perspective, I just say the changes. It's really hard to imagine a technology change. It's hard to imagine a more disruptive time, generally speaking, than we're in right now since the Great Depression. And that's the last time North Carolina looked, frankly, and differently at the relationship between the state and counties, and the state and local government. So it's a really important time. And what I want to say to you all is kudos to you for being willing to take a look at this and be constructive and try to plan. I feel like a lot of the time I look at organizations and what they're doing is playing defense. And I'm not a person who trots out a lot of sports metaphors, but I think if all you do is play defense, it's not a question of do you lose ground, it's just a question of how much ground do you lose. And what I think the strategic planning process is about taking greater control over your own destiny, about making decisions about what you think is most important for this association, what's most important for counties, what's most important for North Carolina, and then trying to figure out how to make that happen. That's bold, that's important. And so thank you. Thank you for your willingness to do it, to take that on, and to be looking at it in a positive, constructive way. As I said, we're honored to be your partner always. We're especially happy to be involved in this work. It will be based on what you say and what you do, because we want to continue that partnership and continue that march together. So again, I'm just thrilled to be here. I really appreciate what you're doing, and I look forward to you all having a productive morning. And I'm going to turn it over to the person who's supposed to now work the magic, Peg Carlson. Thank you.
Good morning. Good morning. So that's my task for the morning. Good. If I'm going to be able to work magic, it's going to be in this kind of environment with this group of people. So it's really nice to see you. I've been thinking a lot lately about collective wisdom in different ways and how we harness the knowledge and expertise of different people in different ways for different purposes. So, for example, how many of you use a GPS device of some kind when you travel. Does anybody use Waze? W-A-Z-E? So one of the things that my husband introduced me to Waze recently. So what's interesting about that is that it does the GPS stuff that most of them do, say in a quarter mile, turn right, 2 miles on your left. But it is a crowdsourcing app in that it also adds people who are traveling, add information all along the way. So that the other thing that you get is there's an object in the road 2 miles ahead. There's a stalled vehicle on the side of the road. There's significant congestion 10 miles ahead. And so for me, it's really interesting because it doesn't always give you information that makes you happy, particularly, but it's useful to know that there's an object in the road sometimes ahead. And you can use that to plan and to work with. My husband got home from Washington, D.C. to Durham in less than 4 hours the other day. He was very happy, and he thanked Waze for that. And so one of the things that you're going to be hearing today is a different kind of way of collecting information that is also really helpful and to sort through a lot of things that you need to know to do your planning. And that's the information that you see in your workbooks from 175 different people who have been interviewed in different ways as part of this process. And I think there's a richness of data there that goes beyond what you get from a crowdsourcing app. And so we can't fully convey the richness of what we learned, but we're going to try. And I'm going to give you just a brief overview this morning that's going to reinforce a lot of what you already see in your workbooks, but it's also cut in a little bit of a different way. And so I encourage you to be, as I go through that, think about how it fits with your reality, whether it raises questions for you about what you need to do in planning with the association. And then the other kind of collective wisdom that is probably my favorite kind, given that I do a lot of facilitation and working with groups in local government for a living, is the kind of wisdom that can only happen when you, I think, bring people together like this to really wrestle with important, tough issues. So I was lucky enough to be part of that 2 weeks ago with the staff of the association when they sorted through data and gave you a good starting place, I think, for today. And now you get the ultimate job of being able to provide the most important guidance of saying, this is what we think our mission is, this is what our goals should be, this is the way we would like to move forward. So thank you for your willingness to do that. So I would say for what I have to cover, I'm not going to go through it. I'm not going to do any kind of really major presentation, so please feel free to stop me if you have questions, if you think I'm going through things too fast, and then there should be a little time left at the end too for questions. And Patrice, I'm thinking about the parking lot aspect of this. Maybe if folks do have questions that go beyond what we can answer this morning about the data, where it came from, we will keep a record of that and make sure we get that information back to you as soon as possible. Okay, so first, who did we speak to? And I will say that, much of this has been gathered by a number of different people in the School of Government team. I've been fortunate enough to be involved with this for the last month or so and have been part of a number of these sessions. But it goes all the way back to June last year with you, starting to look at what you've accomplished in the past 10 years, and then including different kinds of regional input sessions for members of the association, a lot of interviews, partners, affiliates, and the most recent one was just the day before yesterday, a Google Hangout, a virtual input session that a number of commissioners participated in. And there's different questions that we asked, but everyone was asked two things. What's the biggest issues and challenges facing counties? And how should the association respond? So everyone that was talked to was asked those questions, and then additionally, for legislative leaders, partners, affiliates, they were also asked, what are their thoughts about the current and future role of government, and county government, and state government? And what are some ways to strengthen those relationships and that partnering between the association and some of these other key stakeholders? So here's the breakdown of who participated in that. So it ended up being that 109 members of the association participated in one of the regional input sessions, 38 managers, 6 partners, including the League, School of Government, School Board Association, Chamber of Commerce, retail, and then different affiliates, the Association of Boards of Health, Social Services, Directors, Government Finance Officers, variety. And then 11 legislative leaders were interviewed. And here is, if you look at that great map of our state, you'll see if it's either green or yellow, that means that someone participated in some way from that county. So a really great level of participation.
Can I ask, does that have the ones from the virtual input?
It also includes the ones from, well, I thought it did, but it may, well, if DARE is, I think it does if DARE is on.
Yeah, DARE
it
is.
Yep, so yeah,
Okay.
that should be the most recent, thank you. And they said, over and over again, we heard about 3 different factors that seem to drive everything else that people were talking about, the challenges facing counties. First is that there's this increasing awareness of a growing divergence between urban and rural perspectives. Not that that wasn't there 10 years ago, but people are seeing it in the ways that you've already heard about a little this morning, and I know you're living. But that is very striking, folks, in terms of the current landscape. And also changing relationships between state and local government. Different ideas about what that may look like, different levels of familiarity with what it has looked like in the past, and whether or not that should necessarily influence what goes forward. And then finally, the critical role of infrastructure, whether that's roads, or whether it is increasingly technology being considered part of the infrastructure, that these are the factors that folks said drive everything else. So when we looked at ways to kind of slice and group the data, you'll see that there's other challenges, kind of buckets or categories that were identified, but these seem so overarching that it didn't seem really representative to just refer to them as a category of concerns. They're kind of an umbrella. So again, for this, it's organized a little bit differently than what you had seen in the workbook, but I think is going to be very consistent with that. The workbook broke down the feedback into what members said and then what different partners and affiliates said. These challenge areas, I think, actually cut across all of those that folks talked about: citizen expectations and services, revenue and expenditures, quality of life, economic and workforce development, and intergovernmental issues. So let's take a couple of minutes to highlight challenges in each of those. Again, this is not news to you, given what all of you do and how you spend your time, is that there's seems often to ever being a shortage of need for explanation for what counties do and managing expectations of people wanting high services, but not necessarily wanting to pay higher taxes for those services. Counties are increasingly seen as a safety net and gap fillers. I came into town yesterday, was here a little before 5, so got to hear the end of the mental health presentation. That's certainly one of the ways in which people have talked about what needing to be that gap filler. Inadequate technology for the challenges that people see. We'll hear more about that under economic development, workforce development, and issues with kids being prepared for kindergarten, overcrowded jails. And then for revenue and expenditures, people talked a lot about changes in the funding formulas, the implications of that, transportation, education, the counties that are facing tremendous growth and the pressures that come with that, counties that are shrinking, the pressures that come with that, and really feeling like they didn't have a sense that that it was a level playing field, and that the ways that the revenues and expenditures were being calculated was a good fit for where they were. Revenue options, the number they have shrinking or requiring voter approval, which may not necessarily be something you can count on. And the category of under quality of life of this aging infrastructure, needing to build schools, community colleges, fire and sewer. To highlight one of the things under that, we need more education on partnering options. One of the things folks talked about was really wanting to get more information about what would it look like between if there were private-public partnerships, regional ones, between different counties, feeling like they need to be thinking more creatively about what the options are and want to learn more about that. Concern about what is looking for some folks, like it may be resegregation of schools because of the changes in population and growth, and rural areas, hoping to be able to offer something to their youth so that they don't feel like they have to go elsewhere. Economic and workforce development, folks just talked over and over again how these go hand in hand. Wanting to make sure that there are options for people that aren't just high-tech jobs, that represent, a range of things for their residents. Not forgetting about agriculture as an important option. That is something that needs to continue to be valued in our state. And again, coming back to the state funding formulas, Department of Transportation and Commerce contributing again to these urban-rural pressures. And then intergovernmental, defined in several different ways, whether that's county to county, but a lot of conversation about the change in role possibly among state and local governments, and that increased collaboration, although it can yield a lot of benefits, it also could create a strain on for individual counties about what that means for their identity and their priority. And legislative makeup, not as much local government experience for many of the people that were recently elected, means different relationships and approach needed. So let me stop there before I go on to end and say reactions. Questions? Does this look like it is consistent with what you're seeing yourself and what you've been hearing from others?
I said right on target. Those are the exact problems that we're having across the state. It came out in our regional meeting in Jacksonville. I'm with the life commissioner. I said we may differ a little bit on some of the issues, but overall, we all have the same problem. And a lot of it's repetitious in these other areas.
It is. I agree. Thank you for that. Yeah, and it's and I think it's reinforcing ways that even though people had different angles on that, I think they come back to saying we're experiencing some of the same problems.
I'm not sure we captured the direct threat we're dealing to our power and authority through legislative changes. So basic redistricting in our communities or things of that nature.
Yeah.
That's a change that's just been evident in the past few years. We don't have that much power and authority because we're not a home rule state. But even the little powers we've had seem to be being taken away.
Yes, and the I think the workbook hopefully I think highlights some of that. That's certainly something that we've heard over and over, especially in the regional input sessions with your members, of people feeling like, yeah, the responsibility wasn't being taken away, but the authority to make decisions certainly was. Other thoughts, reactions? So even though this summary has been primarily about the trends and challenges you're facing, I wanted to make sure to circle back and we'll have more of an opportunity to talk about this as you work in small groups in the morning, but what role the association can play and can fill in helping to meet these. And so one of the things that we asked was, what do you think of when you hear North Carolina Association of County Commissioners? We asked people for one word. And this is what they said. So if you're not familiar with this technique, this is called a wordle. And what it does is it puts out there the larger words are the ones that are heard the most frequently. I think it's a really nice example of what it is that people value about the association, what they feel like they're receiving from it, the trust that they have in you, and reinforces those strengths that you're building on going forward. And that's one of the things that I've really liked about as I've come into this process just in the past couple of months, having that clear message from the board saying, don't throw out what we did before. It's great work. Build on that. And I think that this is part of what reinforces that message of saying you're doing a lot of things really well. And this is about building on that to meet the challenges going ahead. And then I can set you up for much of the rest of the morning. You're actually going to have the opportunity to work with this.
Great. Thank you, Patty. So much like when we had our staff meeting, we used the morning to a little bit more in depth to see a lot of this foundational information and set the stage. And then we were asked by the board, we the staff were asked by the board to do a couple of things. So I'm going to open up this slide to begin this conversation, and then it's a transition to get you into the small group discussion. What we were asked, I feel, by the board at the last meeting was the staff in the process to take a look at the strategic plan that Kitty talked about which resulted in 5 strategic goals, which you're all familiar with. They're on the backs of your cards from yesterday, and they're in your workbook. And we heard loud and clear that those are still relevant. Those goals are still relevant, and not to just discard them out, but to in fact use them to reconfigure or to redraft and take us into the next decade. So the work that we did on our strategic day was to take those, look at them thoughtfully, and figure out whether they needed to be reworded, redrafted, reconfigured. Have we achieved some of them? Did they need to be on the list anymore? We were also asked to draft a mission statement, a draft mission statement. And so that is the work that we did, and the result of that is on the screen. And there's something very important here I want to point out in the fact that right here. So the staff retreat. These are our recommendations to you. As we finished the day, we all sat around, and as I said, I entered the room thinking, gosh, I could be in a lot of different places. By the end of the day, we were so energized to be walking out of there about the great work that has been done by this association and the great work that will be done by this association, by the people in this room and the people who will sit in this room in 10 years and the staff that will sit in our seats when we are not here. So we were asked to do this, but what I said to the staff at the end of the day is, right, this is great work. We did great work today. But now we've got to be prepared to turn it over to you. And it's okay for you to change it any way that you want to. Because that's our role. We come up with recommendations to you. And so while we feel really good about the work that we did that day, we also feel really good about the leadership that you'll provide in making your adjustments and putting your imprint on this, because you are the leaders of this organization. And so, if I may, you want me to walk through this, the mission statement? I'll read them out loud and tell you what we did, and then I'll turn it over to Peg. So we had this exercise to sort of wordsmith a bit, and that's what we came up with. Our association exists to support and promote the well-being of all North Carolina counties through advocacy, education, research, and member services. To us, that sort of hit it right on. This is why we exist. This is our mission. This is what we do on a daily basis for you. And then we took the 5 strategic goals that were adopted 10 years ago, and we actually consolidated 2 of them. We thought with one we had done pretty well to achieve. And so we thought that it could actually be combined with another. So we ended up with 4. I won't read these out loud. I think that you either have a copy of them or they're up on the screen. So just take a moment to read through 1 through 4. That's right. I think that you have. Do they have copies of?
Let's get started.
I don't know if you want me to hear that over there.
I'll take that as a cue.
It was a prompt. I don't know if y'all can hear that. It's phone said, let's get started. All right. So, is that a good partnership for what? Thanks, Mike. I appreciate that. Okay.
So each either discussion leader or recorders at your table, you have a worksheet that has these on, and you can distribute that now to other folks at your table. Michael's got it.
All right.
And it's going to have this on, and then in a bit I'll walk you through what you're going to do.
Perfect. Great. So those are being distributed. It was very important for me. It was very important for me to have this slide have this space on here. Number 5. And it's blank. Because what I wanted that to do is demonstrate to you that, number 1, you can change this any way that you want to. Again, I feel like these are good recommendations, but I'm also committed to the fact that y'all can change them any way that you want to. But number 5 is blank because you might find out that there's another strategic goal in here that we didn't think of that you might want to include. One of those subject matters is urban rural differences, which we're going to spend some time talking about later this afternoon, we wrestled with that issue as a staff. And we thought at the end of the day, we need to ask our leaders about that. We need your guidance on whether or not that's a strategic goal. Is that a presidential initiative? Is that something you want us to focus on? We want your leadership on that. But it might be something else. And there might be a number 6 or a number 7 down there. We don't know. But that's what we're getting ready to discuss right now. So what we're looking for, and I'll turn it over to Peg, is your information here, your input here, and then whether or not you want to add a number 5, 6, or 7. Peg, does that set the stage? Right? I'll turn it over to you. Thank you.
So here's where we get to start harnessing the collective wisdom that is in the room. For the next hour or so, you are going to have an opportunity to work at your tables around this. And I'll give you a few instructions on that. And you were all very cooperative this morning of walking in and feeling like you were completely where you thought you were yesterday, because you had been moved around. And so you will be in the group where you're sitting now, this exercise for the next hour. And then after the break, you will have an opportunity to move to a new table. And you've also been assigned to that, so we'll let you know that at the end of the break, or the beginning of the break, where you're headed, to discuss in detail this issue of urban-rural differences and the guidance that you want to be able to give the staff in how the association can best help you work with that. So what this next section will be is you'll have a couple of tasks. First, to look at that draft mission statement that's on top. Share your reactions, whether or not you think any changes are needed. Modify that if you need to. You have a staff member who's going to be a recorder for you. And we will be also moving flip charts over close to you so that you can use that as needed. And then, so about 10 minutes on that, and then for about the next 20 minutes, which is going to be a fairly brisk pace, so about 5 minutes per goal, but talk about the 4 goals that are there. You've got what reactions you have to those, whether or not you think any modifications are needed to those, based on what you've been hearing about trends and challenges. Do they seem to be a good match? And we'll have an activity for you to actually indicate your level of support for the mission and first 4 goals, as either as you've modified them or as they stand. And then, as Kevin said, really want to make sure that you have time to talk about whether you think a 5th goal is needed. And you can develop one, create one, and propose it in your small group if you'd like. And then what we're going to do finally in the report out is to hear from each group what's the level of support for the mission in the first 4, and if you have a new 5th one, what is it? And so we'll be able to hear about those, and then as you go into your next discussion about urban and rural differences, I will be looking at and reviewing those proposed 5th goals, seeing if I can do any combining of those. And before the morning is done, we'll circle back to that and give you a chance to discuss and vote on that as well. So hopefully you'll be able to leave here with that agreed upon set, including a new one, if you'd like that. Okay. Questions? Right, and as I said, you've got a discussion leader and recorder there. I'll be going around helping as needed, but please have at it. I'll be doing the timekeeping warnings according to this. I'll give you a 1-minute heads up for each. Thank you. Point.
At 9:30, and the reason being we want to get a great picture of this crowd. And according to our professional photographer, Chris, he said we need to do it at 9:30 because of the sun. Hey, I'm just telling you. He come up 10 minutes ago. But so what we're going to do at 9:30, we're going to take our break, and that will be our break for our picture. And we want to do it the first thing. So at 9:30, we'll all proceed out the door. Chris will line us up. And we'll have a picture on our break, and we'll reconvene at 10. Is everybody okay with that? I thought you were. Thank you so much. So at 9:30, we'll go get a picture of this esteemed group that will last forever. Thank you.
When I first started,
Okay. That was a nice break. It worked out real well. It sure is pretty out there, and I'm glad we got that picture. We'll get you a copy of it. We'll get you a copy of that picture. All right, let's get started. I'm going to, your scribes at the table are writing up. Hang together. Your scribes at the table are writing up on flip charts your input. We're going to get ready to talk about that. So I'd like to turn it back over to Peg, and we'll go from there. Peg?
Thank you, Kevin. All right, so here's the description of where we're going next. We're still, there have been good tabletop discussions about the mission, about the proposed goals, and the possible new goal. And so what we'd love to do at this point is have you all hear what each other has done on that. So for each group, I think the recorders have written up or are in the process of writing up any suggested changes to the mission or to the first 4 goals and a proposed 5th goal if you got to that part. And what I'd like to do is have each group briefly report out, explain any changes they're proposing and why. Please listen carefully to those, because then if we can see if there's a way to combine what we've heard into one revised list now of mission and goals. You have on your tables, there's a red card, a yellow card, and a green card for each of you, as well as a piece of paper that describes what that green, yellow, red means. And so after we've heard from everybody, created a combined list, I'm going to ask you to indicate a level of support for that by holding up a card of one of those colors. So green means that you can support it. Even if you may have some, proposed small changes you'd like to make, but you don't feel like you can support it. Yellow, you've got some concerns, you're putting a pause on it, or red, you can't support it. And, you have no cards. I think, I apologize. What do you think, Kevin? Yeah, do you want to go on to another group, or are you good to go? Okay, go for it.
Well, the mission statement, we talked about the word exists and whether that is maybe too weak of a term and whether to eliminate it altogether or change it to some other language, such as our association. So eliminate it. Our association supports and promotes.
We can't hear Kevin.
Okay, let me stand on this side. The question is the word exists maybe a little too weak for our mission statement? The association exists. We more than just exist, right? So we wanted to look at just eliminating it, making it say our association supports and promotes, or maybe saying our association will
support and promote sort of a promise going forward. So that's where we are with that. Peg, do you want me to go on to the other goals we discussed, changes?
Yeah, I think if you want to mention any on all of them, Kevin, that would be great.
Okay. 1, 2, and 3, we were completely comfortable with them as they're stated. Number 4, we felt was a little nebulous, and maybe it has to be because it gets too defined, and that's going to get way detailed, wordy, etc. But we did think that the word key is confusing there. Key, when you say key county partners, key counties, we want it to involve all counties, not just the key counties. So we know that's not the intent there, but it can be read that way. So we felt there might be a change needed there.
Kevin, can I pause you for a second? And I apologize. You asked, and I kind of pointed out, it may be easier for us to do this in a way where we hear actually the changes, proposed changes to the mission first for each group, do a vote on that. Then you all are so much better at parliamentary procedure stuff than I. Thank you for that catch. So we can see any other changes to the mission, then see if we can endorse that, and then I'll come back to you. Does that work? Okay, so other mission changes.
Well, similar to what Kevin had mentioned, we felt it needed, the mission statement just needed a little punch to it, so we put the mission of our association is to support and promote the well-being of North Carolina counties through advocacy, research, member services, and education. And Lynn was talking about mission statements and not being a paragraph, and I said, well, really, I like them as a bumper sticker. If you can have you reduce it to a bumper sticker. And Patrice said T-shirt, so we put an acronym ARME, A-R-M-E, Advocacy, Research, Member Services, and Education. So, somewhere there will be a logo with ARME, the association logo with ARME on it for a T-shirt. But that's what we saw on mission day, very similar to what Echo was talking
Great, thank you. Okay, other proposed changes to mission.
Yes, we,
Everybody urinated, we need to get a microphone.
okay, I can speak up. I'll learn how to speak up. I wasn't a teacher, sorry. We're just now, I think a lot of us are agreeing with the word is and exists and whatever. But what we wanted to add was partnerships. So, sorry Larry, the Army wouldn't work. It's yeah, advocacy and then partnerships, we felt, and then the rest. Because we see the need to work, just like we're working with the school of government, with our state legislators, and so on and so forth. So we need to throw that in there. Come up with another acronym.
Thank you.
Our spokesperson stepped out, so I got roped into as described. The only thing that we had that was a question really was whether or not somewhere in the statement it should address the desire for collaboration between counties. And later, as we went down and fleshed that out, it may be that it actually could fall under something in the member services, one of the other goals, that we throw it out just as a question, because the 4 pillars there that the association is originally standing on, there was a question on our part as whether or not you could actually add something that would be succinctly stated to promote collaboration between counties, not just key partners. But we did not come up with actual wording to do that, other than to add the word collaboration in the list in front of the other 4. So, and I don't have a pad. I'm right now.
Okay, thank you.
We actually addressed that, and we added that as a new goal to promote county-to-county collaboration.
There you go.
Okay. So it could end up in the goals. Okay.
Yeah, that's so good. That's a new
Okay.
yeah.
How about other proposed changes to the mission?
We were fine pretty much with the mission statement as written. there was some discussion about possibly adding some reference to the citizens. The only pushback we got from that, and I think it's part of the staff discussion, was that then do people in reading that respond by thinking that they should be able to interact directly with the association as a citizen. So there's some question there, some element of whether that works. But we did feel that it was important that the citizens, which we represent, be acknowledged as part of our mission. So other than that, we were fine with it. Although I think there is some merit to the idea of exist being modified to something a little bit more relevant.
All right, great, thank you. Is there any group that we missed that had suggested changes to the mission statement? Is that everybody?
We discussed it at length, but not to make any changes, and we prefer to think all through this to keep it simple. But I think that to the mission statement, the two key words is our association, and it's for the well-being of all North Carolina counties. And if we today adopt this mission, then we accept ownership of this process. That's the way it needs to be.
Okay, great. Thank you. So let me test what I think I've heard so far, and you tell me what I may have missed. So it sounds like there is a fair level of support for changing exists to is to. That several different groups have come up with versions of that. I didn't hear anybody make a case for why exists was preferable. So that sounds like one change that we should make for existing. Okay, and then I'd like to hear a little more discussion on the reaction about adding partnerships as into the mission. That sounds like one that I'm guessing you may have talked about that a little bit more at your table, but that's been proposed by one of the small groups. People's reactions.
Well, actually, and we were just when we heard collaboration
of that. And can I mean, I could, but I'm thinking it'd be more valuable for you to speak.
Sure. Can you rephrase your question or restate your question?
Explain advocacy, the definition of advocacy, to make sure we're all on the same page with the word.
Sure.
As we redefined it may be already in there, and that's why I'm not sure.
And you say a little bit about your reason for asking, because I think it may help tie into this discussion.
I'm thinking that a lot of the groups in collaboration is already included. So I want to make sure we're on the same page with the understanding of the words.
Okay.
Well, I think that the association approaches advocacy, the term advocacy as it's included into the mission statement as, I think we're very literal in our interpretation of that, and I'd look to the senior staff to help me with that. But so advocacy is just that. We're going down to the legislative building, up to the United States Congress, and we're advocating on behalf of the association, speaking for, yes, great term, speaking for, on behalf of the counties in the best interest, the well-being of the counties, and advocating. And I always stress this when we're talking to members and we're talking to outside organizations, that it's not Kevin's idea of what he thinks is best for the counties. It's what our members tell us is what is best for the counties. And we have, I believe, the best legislative goals process that you can initiate by having as much input. So to me, that is advocacy for our counties. So it's again very literal when we're talking about lobbying and advocating. If you wanted to broaden it out, you could say we are advocating in every way that we can possibly think of with our partners, our outside partners. But my mind goes quickly to the governmental arena because that's where I come from. But I'm always working with other interest groups down to the legislature, advocating with them about what's best for the county as well. So it's broader than that. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, and so what we and that you did, but and I asked for the reason. I want to make sure we're not being redundant when we're adding words like partnership
And doesn't association presuppose or assume a partnership? If you're a member of an association, doesn't that, I mean, you're not forced as a county to be a member of this association. You can leave the association. So if you're part of that association, doesn't that presuppose a partnership exists? Whether it's weak, strong, or in some form.
And I'm hearing the answer to some of that being
Why
no.
not?
No, say, yeah, can you say some more?
Why not?
What's, yeah.
Well, the whole purpose of why we suggested putting partnerships, if you look at the goals, the individual goals, the mission statement should be sort of a summary and a focus statement, and then the goals are a part of that. Well, advocacy is the number one thing that our organization does. You can advocate for something, but you may not have a partner. And I'm looking beyond, I think we were looking beyond the county partners, but we're looking like school of government. We're looking at other organizations that we're trying to create partnerships with, the League of Municipalities. That's a partnership that we have, and if you build those partnerships, then you work together with those other organizations and you're more effective. So that's why we felt that was a key component of what this association should do.
And also partnership within the county. Intra and inter. We need to work together. I mean, when we start talking about the urban-rural divide, things like that, we some kind of way need to work together, maybe through the League of Municipalities. So that was a good component of advocacy.
One more follow-up, but I'm trying to understand would the new goal of promote county-to-county collaboration, would that address what you're trying to get at, the partnerships and the collaboration, whether it's county-to-county or whether it's sister organization? Would that speak to that?
That would support, if partnership was in the mission statement, then that goal would support the
My fifth goal is the box lunch. No. Sarah probably has this written. I think this is probably the most important in my mind, and I've discussed it with a lot of folks in this room, and a lot of folks that's sitting up here, and a lot of folks at this table back here.
Number 3.
So if you want to put it as a new goal, that's fine. If you want to reword it, that's fine. Moving forward in the future of this association, we have the people in place, but what we have to do is market ourselves better. You have 10 years. Look down the road 10 years. Where's Kitty? Kitty might be here 10 years.
No.
Some of y'all might be here 10 years from now. Most will not. With the diversity coming on boards of commissioners and other elected offices, we cannot no longer, I'm not saying we are, but we've got to be better and proud to be self-promoters of this association, more than ever. Now, how we want to put that in a goal, I don't know. This association does things that's unprecedented across this nation. We met with 30. I educated 30 different. I mean, you can't make it up. West Virginia has 2 associations. They can't get long enough to have one association. They can't run a lemonade stand. So, I'm just saying that how we want to word it, Sarah's going to give you the wording. But moving forward, we can no longer be with our hat in our hand. We need to promote ourselves from within. You have commissioners on your board right now. Every board that's sitting in this room that has really no idea about the association. Whoever said a while ago, some will never know, but when that new county commissioner is elected, whatever, in just a matter of not weeks, days, he should have somebody in this association contact him. Well, and if it's not another commissioner, that comes to the, I'm sorry, Kevin, that comes to the obligation of your staff of this association. Not wait 2 weeks, not come to assembly day and not know, just sort of filling it out. Is education, a lot of things we talked about, but what it goes back to is being able and being willing to not be ashamed to promote ourselves. We're something special, folks, I'm telling you. As a group, group, this association, does things that nobody else in the nation does. We need to tell the folks that. Not only other county commissioners, but the general public. When Michael Kelly comes in front of the board and hands you a check, or we get the pamphlet from how much the association saves, we're lucky enough, our local press will print that. Very few do. Very few you see that picture of Michael Kelly walking in with a check. This county, the association saved you this amount of money through the debt set-off program, which we had an education process on that because a lot of us don't understand exactly how it works. So whatever we want is a goal. However you want to work. Sarah's going to come up and read what I've mumbled through. And does anybody agree with that?
Yeah.
Do we all agree with that?
Yeah.
President Bill,
Yes, sir.
I wish there was a little brochure that we would send to every county commissioner candidate that says, so you want to be a county commissioner, and tell them what's going to be expected, because we have people, and I'm sure everybody does, they get elected, and they don't know how, then they start complaining about how many times you have to meet, what you have to go to, and all of that. There needs to be...
Well, that exists, as a matter of fact.
Does it? I didn't get one when I filed. I didn't get one.
Well, you should have. But like Ellen talked about her county commissioner, not Ellen, did not say that. Ann said that one of her commissioners would like to pull out of this association. We have one right here in this county. I'm sure. I know Cherokee County does. So there's some of the folks who are not going to, we don't care. We still need to have self-promotion out there. We have a marketing team that's been pulled together like no other. We need to use that thing to its maximum. And how we do that, we have a staff sharp enough to do that. We have smart minds in this room to do that. So folks, I can be no more proud to be involved in any association besides my church than this right here. And I'm serious about that. So, and we all should be serious about that. Not only is, and what we do is something special. Just a quick story in Washington. We met truly with 30 different states. Alabama, Florida, other foreign countries. And you listen to what they do. What is your program? What do you do? What is your program? How do you work with your county? Well, we do things for our counties. Give me the top two. I have yet. Oklahoma, prime example. A nice lady, one I went through the Essentials leadership with, they fired her when she got home from Washington. But the story. What is your goals for your counties? We're trying to get them to pay the dues. No. What do you do? You do what this association does for our counties day in and day out. Dues should be the last thing on anybody's mind. But we've got to learn going to the future as we elect more diverse boards than ever. People with a whole difference of opinion. Whether they like us, whether they don't like us. We're going to put something in their hand. We're going to come personally and shake their hand. We need regional folks from the association. We don't have time to do this, commissioners. I'm telling you right now. We can talk about it. We can promote it the best we can. What we're going to have to talk about is executive committee. Ken's going to look at as a staff about putting folks that can come to your county on a regular basis. I'm not talking once every 3 months. I'm talking on a regular basis. Talk to your county manager. Don't pick up the phone and call him. Go see him. There's nothing like looking at people eye to eye. Nothing. And this association is going to have to do that. We're going to have to figure out a way to do that. So Sarah's going to come and read you the goal. Welcome, Sarah.
All right, first down here. Continuously promote programs and benefits of the association among county officials and all North Carolinians. Do that again? Continuously promote programs and benefits of the association among county officials.
Talk like you're in the mountain.
Just spell it like it sounds, we'll get it. All y'all is
Slow that truck down, sister.
Of the association among county officials in all North Carolina. First staff here.
That's the first staff that Sarah came up with, who's a professional wordsmith. Do we have any of those out in the room? If not, how much you drink or no? So, this is a start. Do what, Tim?
And the first hand.
Well, our typist, he didn't, I failed in school too. But I thought the typewriter out the window. So does that, we want it strong.
We've got a suggestion to take out continuous.
Okay, promote.
Good.
We want to have, I wanted to have a word in there that said, not only promote, I can promote a lot of things, but we want not only the association, but the staff to understand that we want to strenuously, whatever the word you want to put, we want to have something in there, vigorously, whatever. From now we're going to promote the hell out of the association. So let's talk about this.
It's just you had an adverb.
I knew that, Ann, right? I said that. I said that.
So, reactions, questions, responses to this before asking.
And how strong do we want to make it?
Okay, people, so the cards mean people are ready to vote? Okay. Anyone people significant reservations about this?
Thank y'all so much. Thank you. Renee.
You also, when you came and invaded our table,
Yeah, I did.
yeah, you also talked about commissioners that are involved to be ambassadors, and I think that's important as well.
Yeah, and speak to that, Renee. You speak to it too. Your table agreed to that.
So then let me check in. Excuse me, very, very well. 11:20, Ellen.
I had one more possible.
One more possible goal. Yes.
And that was because earlier you went over the challenges that we face as counties. That we have citizens' expectations for services, we have dwindling revenues, we have aging infrastructure, we've got a digital divide, et cetera. And I'm not sure, I mean, I guess I was thinking of a goal that directly addresses these challenges. So the possible goal is enhance the capacity of counties to address challenges and provide efficient, effective governance.
Capacity
Of counties.
to address
Challenges. And provide efficient, effective governance. Yeah, I mean, it goes with the expansion of our research function.
and it addresses,
Effective.
it goes back to that feeling like you want a clear connection in these goals between the challenges that have been identified through your strategic planning process and the goals.
Keep driving.
Reactions, questions on that?
Ronnie, I understand your passion, but I think we've got it covered
what you put up there as a goal is a strategy.
No, it's not.
It is in my mind. I think what Ellen proposes is a true goal. Just my viewpoint.
And if you see
The difference is the word marketing. You know, that could be that don't have to be a goal, but it can be an instruction. But 10 years from now, if we don't start promoting what we do, you can enhance capacity. You can put all those words, but when you put promote and market something, I think that is definitely a goal. And I think, and I think Ellen has a different ring to it than the promote or marketing key. I mean, I certainly trust your insight. I feel strongly about that as all the green cards for us too, by the way, Keith. I'm sure.
Do you see it as a strategy under one of the other goals?
I see it as a strategy
Under the first goal.
Or measure it.
Did I give it the last one?
Is there a key part of that that's something really important on is that marketing, making sure to pull up the marketing part? Is there a way to revise the first goal? And I know you had some conversation about that, but
Well, I'm sure they are. I'm sure you could tie that into the first goal because it's all about the same thing, but it needs to include what the benefits of the association provide.
Yeah,
As we talk about across the state. You can include that in the first, and that's great.
just to say a marketing program.
That'd be great.
Now, that's fine. That's what it really is.
I think we need to stress the marketing part of number 5, but I almost want to side with Ronnie on that because it needs to be really highlighted of what the association does, not just what county governments do, but what this association does. Because we just get reports in an envelope, and that's about it. And I think, as far as, the debt set off and all of that. And I really think we do need to, it says promote, but really to market the programs and the benefits.
And as we move down the road in years to come, that's what really matters.
And I see the enhance the capacity part as being more of a strategy.
And Ronnie, just to speak to what you're talking about, when our citizens think about the time that we spend out in the county, that market and have our citizens understand that we're just not out here playing.
So then what we have are a possible fifth and sixth goal, or two options for a possible fifth goal. I mean, we left that open. We talked about that it has to be 5 and only that. What other thoughts about both we've got now market programs and benefits as number 5, and then the new one, enhanced capacity of counties to address challenges.
Is that research or what? Enhance the capacity?
It would be, I would think, doing research, promoting best practices, basically helping counties be more effective.
Empowering counties to be strong and effective doing
That's
So the difference is you said 3 is more focused on the advocacy portion of your mission. But what you're proposing is broader. Other people have questions, reactions to that one, other information that you would like to hear.
Yeah.
Elaborate a little more. So the measuring, how can you tell if you're successful?
Well, if counties were able to do something more efficiently, provide a program more efficiently, you'd be enhancing their capability of doing it. And we do it when we provide the awards in the summer to counties that are more productive. We're showing some best practices, but I'm just saying to really put that on as a major focus of the association.
Are you really speaking to the results of what the association does and its impact on your county, rather than that being a goal of the association? I mean, to me, if you put the mission statement and the goals, what you're talking about there should be the byproduct of the cumulative effects of the mission and the goals.
And to some degree, what your county manager and staff do.
So, were you going to respond to that? So, well, what you're putting out there is that this is going to be the end result of all of this, all of these efforts.
I think any county, maybe perhaps any county could look and say, you know, the association has done this for us. It's enabled us to provide this. They've shared information. They've, assisted us, helped us to be more effective and efficient. And that's the byproduct, the cumulative effect, if you will, of the mission statement and the goals.
I want to check in to see in terms of it's hard, that I know people have been at it for a while, and then once you retire. So it's hard for me to assess on this one how much energy there is around
I agree with
this. So I can ask for a vote on this, but I'll try to figure out.
Red.
Okay, so specifically on the last one, enhancing capacity of counties, James, seeing primarily red. And so for the red, is it about that you want it rewarded, or are you saying you don't think it? Don't need it. Okay. And so for those of you, I think Ellen was saying, your concern is that given the trends and challenges you've heard, and it's something you want to do.
I don't feel like we're capturing that we're helping counties to address.
Would that be to enhance leadership capabilities of county officials to create opportunities to develop future counties or future leaders?
That's it. All the strategies are about.
Put that in with so it's part of the enhancing the leadership capabilities of you all. And that's part of how.
Right there.
There you go.
You've got, we're getting, there's duplication, I think, that's the way it is. We don't need more than 5 goals.
So, are you saying to flesh out that wording more?
Correct.
And so this is, you have done a better job of wordsmithing as a large group than I think any group that I've ever worked with. And I also think that we may be getting to the point of diminishing returns in terms of continuing that. So given what Kevin said about bringing this back in June, given what you've expressed and the reorganization of you.
Peggy, I think you're reading my mind. If you would allow us to bring back what you have in front of you at the June board meeting in a draft final report, what we as your staff will attempt to do is take the sentiment of the proposed goal, number 6, and incorporate it into number 2, and try to wordsmith it there and bring you a recommendation. Would that be okay?
Yes.
Perfect. We will do it.
Great
We're moving in. But unless we don't want to cut these short. We do have some other business. And I think you've done an outstanding job.
Great job. In June, are we also going to address all these other things?
I think that was the plan.
I've heard urban rural divide and et cetera, et cetera.
I think today was the goal was to get the mission statement and our goals, and then in June, after everything's said and done, then apply to the booklet that's been prepared. Am I correct, Kevin? I think that was our plan, because we knew it would take most of our time as we saw it had to get this front part done. And then also, we really thought that it would give more people time after these goals are sent out. You'll get an email with this on it, and then you can, hopefully, we can move that along. So here's sort of the plan. Ann asked the question if you didn't hear the plan of what we worked on this morning that will be brought back up in June. So if you, by the way, I don't have one with me. Will you hold that little booklet? Does everyone have one of those? Yes. So what we're going to ask the staff to do is, after they wordsmith and send that to everyone, and then that booklet you have at our meeting in June, which will be in Raleigh.
What day?
Kevin's got that right now. I believe it's the 24th. Somebody look.
June 17th. 24th. 24th, Wednesday?
The 24th is a one-day meeting, yes, ma'am. And there'll be a lot of other business there, and we may have to call, if needed, we will call a special work session just for that. Before that, or maybe, that may, and the strategic plan does, there's no, it's not etched in stone. We may have to pick it up under, and finish it under Glenn's term. It's just so important. I mean, as you see today, there's a lot of different views, but we come to agreement. So as long as we just promote it, we'll be okay. So with that, we are getting ready to close the meeting. We know a lot of folks have got to travel a long, long ways. And so with that, but I'll ask for Dean Smith to come up.
Ronnie, I didn't know you could raise people from the dead.
Well, this is the first one. Only in Macon County can you do that. But we talked about strategic partnerships. We've talked about collaborations. We've talked about a lot of things. Dean, Mike Smith has always been one of those in this association for many years. And the School of Government will continue for many years to come to be our strategic partner. We rely on for so many things. So, Dean Smith, on behalf of the folks of Macon County, nobody else has one of these. I don't know what they're doing. But I'd like to present, and Peg, please come up at the same time. And we want y'all to say a few words. And this is ethically, we have two different, which one do you like? Yeah. Well, in that case, have that. So, but everyone who's been a part of the last 2 days, Peg and Dean Smith, have, on behalf of the Macon County Board of Commissioners, and all of those, but all Maconians. And this really represents all the association. It's just a small token of our appreciation. And thank you to the School of Government for many years. And these are beautifully handcrafted pins, as you will see. And we appreciate your being here and the leadership you've shown as we work on a very important project. We thank you very much. Happy to hear.
Yeah. I just want to say thanks for the opportunity to work with you for your incredibly hard work and to let you know that you all are the poster children for us of people who really have a living plan that they use and doesn't end up in a binder on the shelf. What you've done for the last 10 years has just been great. And so appreciate the opportunity to help you as you move forward, and if there's anything I can do to continue to support you in that journey, I will. Thank you.
I do appreciate this very much. I said earlier how important it was for me and how happy I was to be here, and that's before I knew I was even getting this. But I really mean that. We've had a great relationship, not only with the county commissioners, but the staff of your association. You all know this. You work with them all the time. But anytime there's a change in leadership, it's something that, from my perspective as a partner, longtime partner, you always are a little nervous about. And what's been fantastic is knowing Kevin, knowing the rest of the staff. I mean, it's impressive to me what great staff leadership you have. They know their role. They know you're the leaders, that you're setting the vision. They know what their responsibility is. But what I love about this association is the way in which you are really increasing not only the awareness of, but the professionalism of, the importance of county government across the state. It's really a blessing for us to just be a part of that. So thank you for that. And whatever words are up here, y'all have done great work this morning, but whatever words are up here, if I have anything to say about it, we're always going to be strong partners with this association. So thank you very much.
Just a couple other things. I would like to have the members of our local media to come up. That would be you, Brittany. Radio station, Bobby. We talk all the time about, marketing and such. These three folks, along with Ryan from the Franklin Press, have been diligent, being here all the time for our meetings. We will certainly get you what they report. They report the honesty and the facts of what goes on in Macon County, and we appreciate them very much. And we appreciate them being here. You talk about marketing, right here it is. And if it's good marketing, it better be good marketing. We do appreciate these folks, because this is in all our communities, this is the link to the public. So, on behalf of the county commissioners of Macon County and all of us gathered here, I'd like to present them a pen, which they don't have one either. So this is just a small token, not only for the last 2 days, but for a lot of work that y'all put in. And I appreciate it, and along with the other county commissioners and all the folks in Macon County who keep you so well informed. I appreciate it so much. Now, thank you. Give them another good hand. The relationships we have now. Before we close, has anybody in this room not received a pen? I'm talking. Have you not got pens?
He doesn't have one either.
Sheila, get that lady. If you forget your pen, we'll find out who you are. Now, in closing, if I would, Kevin, would you please, you and the entire staff, if somebody can turn off this light, that's above my pay grade, but I can. You know, turn off the baby. The entire staff, everybody. If you work for the association, please come up in front of the screen. We turn off all the lights.
Good job.
There you go. Sheila, the trees. Come right up here. Now I know. I guess Charlie had an appointment. He went to do good. Folks, these folks right here. There's new additions and new additions to come. If you don't back out after this meeting, of your association. We can talk about goals. We can talk about mission statements. but without these folks to carry it out, they're just words on paper. As I can attest, I think, from Brenda and Glenn on the executive committee and those who have been president before, there I think you can, it's up to the staff to make it work. There have been changes at the association, but you know what? It has grown faster probably in the last 6 months than in the previous 2 years in a lot of ways. Not to criticize, not to say nothing bad about anybody and their leadership style, but your association is not only respected, it is needed now more than ever. And these are the folks that make it happen. So if you step around front, what are you doing back here? That would be. So these are the folks, you know, and of course we're losing Rebecca is retiring, and we wish her the best and everything Rebecca does. She's been a wonderful asset to this society. But I'm here to tell you now that in 2 weeks, 3 weeks down the road, this association is going to continue. It's going to continue strong. We do things that's unique to nobody else. Nobody. We should be very proud of that. And who there standing in the gap to help us every day in our counties are these great folks standing here. So if you would please stand up. Yes. And let's give our staff. If you got somebody to take a picture. 18. Who's good at taking a picture that can take a picture? All right. Looks like you're going to be employed next week, so. Here we go. Here we go. We That's right. Okay? Thank you. Thank you, staff, so much. You don't know. Before we just do just 2 quick things, just housekeeping items. First of all, before we ever always miss any of our board meetings or anything we do, we give an opportunity for anyone in the room that would like to speak. So we have a few minutes. Has anybody got anything to add to our meeting?
Thank you for the hospitality. It's been wonderful to come.
More than welcome. Thank you. Yeah, you can say you've been somewhere now. Larry?
Ronnie, I just want to say thanks to these commissioners, too.
Folks, on behalf of all the folks here, and especially me, I cannot thank you enough for visiting our county. We hope you come back to see us. We won't let you go to bed hungry. We have to keep you up all night. And so we cannot thank you enough. Please have safe travels home. The box lunches are at the back. What you don't take, I will see that they get took care of. So I cannot thank you enough. Have safe travels and thank you.
Not